Welcome back to Of the People. I'm Robert Chernin.
And I'm Ericka.
And we are back. Well, that was certainly a spirited discussion at the end of last section.
Well, it's always a good time talking about sex, right? Hopefully that's some good salacious material for our listeners, for our viewers. But I want to talk about a different kind of sex.
Is this alternative sex?
It's really gender.
Oh, that's
biology.
not. Okay, way to lead me on. That's not sex. That's gender.
You're right. It is not as sexy as what they're teaching our children in elementary school. But I am really, really excited because this last week, the World Athletics Council decided that
sounds impressive.
Biological men, transgender women, folks who believe that they're women who were born as males are not going to be allowed to compete against women in track and field events this year.
So
good. This is what I have to say. Finally, reality has caught up with at least one sport that people are participating in. And, but you know what, Robert? No surprise, folks like NPR and the liberal media are arguing against this, saying there's no science to back up this decision.
I saw that, and they're not arguing. There is a single scientist that they are quoting, right, in that echo chamber that says that there are no biological differences. Every other study that's out there says that there is. And let's be honest, empirically, anyone who's objective knows that a man's physiognomy, competing in women's sports has an advantage most of the time. That's right. Just ridiculous.
And that's right, Robert. And the thing that is the most striking, right? One of the themes we've been talking about today is how outlandish these belief systems are and how they don't follow logic or reason.
Because it's a new religion.
Correct. And so there are rules against doping in athletics. Every major sports, whether it's soccer, boxing, track and field, you're not allowed to take performance enhancing drugs. And what's so fascinating to me is as a woman, if I compete in track and field and I take testosterone, that means
it's a banned subject. It's a banned substance.
That's right. It's a banned substance.
Right.
But I, as a man, can claim to be a woman, join women's athletics, and have higher testosterone than I would if I were doping. And that's allowed.
Well, the problem, Ericka, with you is you're being logical. And this is not about logic or facts. This is about, you can't do that.
It's about feelings, emotions.
It's about feelings. You've hurt my feelings. Right. Look, I have a better question. Well, that's a good point, but I have a better question for you. Why is it that you only see transgendered women, meaning men who transgender into a woman, probably don't get their private parts cut off, by the way, from what I'm told. Most of them keep them, although I haven't done a statistical study. Right?
Yeah.
Why is it that men who transition, is that the word? Yeah, transition to women compete in women's sports, but you never see a woman who transitions to a man, and there are a fair number of those from what the numbers I've seen. They never compete in men's sports.
It's because it's not real. Because even if we do dope, even if women do start taking testosterone to transition to appear more like a man, we still will never have the body mass, the muscle strength, the bone density to actually compete. I loved this. I'm trying to remember which show she was on. Serena Williams even said as much. Arguably the best female athlete of all time, or some of the top female athletes.
Certainly the best female tennis player of all time.
Right. Sure. Okay. For sure. And top women athletes of all time, somewhere up there. Even she said, I can't compete against a man. She literally said, it's not the same sport. They're faster, they're stronger, etc. So when you have a top female athlete saying, I know that I can't compete, when she lost against the guy who was ranked 200 and something in the men, and she got smoked by him,
Right. I remember.
There is a reality to biology that no matter how much we care about people's feelings, and no matter how much we care about equality or equity or whatever, that we cannot overcome reality no matter how hard we try.
Except if you redefine it, which is what they're doing. They're not trying to overcome reality. They're redefining it. They're making it mean something different. Ericka, they are. Look, you've heard me rant, so I'll go on a quick one. Right? We're a nation of laws. You want to get rid of laws, get rid of law enforcement, the people who enforce the laws. Those are man's laws. The minute you get rid of man's laws, the next step in the process, this revolutionary new religious wokeism bullshit process, once you get rid of man's laws, then you go after God's laws. Right? And so therefore you have to break down the gender. So there aren't any two sexes. There are multiple, 20, 30, 40. And the core of that is having a man become a woman and a woman become a man, and then you've blurred the lines. So this incidental little stuff that men who are transitioned to women are competing in women's sports, who cares? And now I do care. I'm being facetious, of course.
No, but that's what they say.
Because there's no master plan like there's some guy behind the curtain pulling all these strings. I am Oz. There's not one of those guys.
Yeah.
But there is a movement afoot, this wokeism. And I'm going to put a plug in for ASIC, if I can, really quick.
Yeah, get it.
ASIC, ACEKFUND.org. We're doing a whole series on the American spirit versus wokeism, which is America's spiritual crisis. That's a part of what this whole women or men and women sports things is.
Well, and that I feel like so much of this is really an effort in destabilization. Sure. If there is no such thing as subjective reality.
Objective reality.
Excuse me, objective reality. Thank you, Robert.
The problem is everything's become subjective.
Exactly. So if we cannot agree as a society, as a country, on at least a few facts that we can build off of, right? Which you would think that biology, science would be a great place to start. But they've even torn down science, right? Science isn't the study of a thing, with trials and hypotheses and all these other things. Science is Anthony Fauci dictating what we are and are not allowed to believe.
Look, they're cherry picking. Look, it's the height of hypocrisy. They're cherry picking science, right? Follow the science, except when the science doesn't support our position. Because now we know during COVID, and you brought up, Dr. Fauci. Another one of my favorites. Can't be my girlfriend though. I guess if I transition though, then he could be my boyfriend. But I don't know. I'm not getting.
You could
that stuff.
Identify as a woman and then call him your boyfriend, because apparently fluidity is a thing.
I want to identify. Actually, the truth is, I want to identify as a Black San Franciscoan of like 4 generations, so I can get some of that reparations money they're going to be paying everybody. But look, they're cherry picking science. We now know, looking back at all the studies, whether it was the John Hopkins study or the Harvard study, that COVID wasn't what we were told it was.
Yeah.
Right. And that the vaccines are something other than what we were told they are. And their effectiveness are not what we were told. But at the time, A, we were told follow the science, which clearly didn't support what they were saying. And B, here's the other issue, is they suppressed other science that they did, or other results that disagreed or didn't agree with their public narrative that transgressed their agenda, because you transgress a faith. This is all about faith, and they will. And last segment, we were talking about Parents' Bill of Rights. It's the same theme.
It really feels so much like religious zealotness.
It is.
Zealotness? Is that a word?
Zealotry.
Zealotry, right?
I guess
Like,
zealotness. Zealotness sounds like, can I have a bowl of green zealotness, please? Sorry. Or is
but
that
it's like,
that's gelatinous? Sorry.
no, but you cannot question the belief. You
No.
cannot
No.
ask questions.
Oh, I can.
You are
Wait.
not
I
allowed
can.
to. No, but that in their ideology, even if you are a leftist who goes along with all of the other stuff that they say, if you have a question or like,
Right.
oh my goodness, J.K. Rowling, right? She's a radical feminist, a radical leftist going along with all this stuff, saying Dumbledore's gay now, and we're writing people into being homosexual that weren't before, into children's novels, okay?
Of course.
And yet she's a TERF and she needs to be canceled because she says that there should be safe spaces for women.
Right.
Like this lady was all the way on your side, believing all of the same stuff as you, but all she said was, "Well, can we just make sure we protect women, though?" And
no, the ship
nope.
that ship left.
Now
See,
she's
here's the thing. It's a moving target. They start moving left, and 5 or 10 years ago, she was in the mainstream of where that was. But they've continued to push so far left beyond that, and pushing those boundaries again. We go back to man's laws, God's laws, and what they're trying to do to sort of revolutionize or instill this new system. I mean, the truth is, hold your ears. It's really about socialism and communism. They call it democratic this or social, whatever it is, but that's what this is. So J.K. Rowling, Bill Maher, all these people who were pretty solidly left of center are now really right of the democratic norm. Right. Yeah. My sister, may she rest in peace, used to live in Berkeley, California. And, I'm the arch conservative. She used to introduce me as her token Republican brother. and she was hard left of center. We loved each other. I miss her every day. We had a healthy respect for each other. Yeah. But I said to her one day, I said, sis, I said, I know I'm the conservative here. I said, but out here in Berkeley, I said, you're the conservative. And she looked at me and sort of cocked her head and didn't quite understand what I was talking about. I said, think about it. I said, your politics, your position back east makes you hard left of center. Out here, you're on the conservative right fringe. She thought about it and started to roar with laughter because she understood it's the spectrum. So J.K. Rowling was mainstream Democrat over here until the center of the party moves so far left. Of course, she's going to be canceled. They're going to eat their young.
That's right.
Let them.
You are so right, Robert. I think that that's right.
Let them.
You are so right, Robert. I think that I've heard that over and over from Democrats or recovered Democrats, as I know a few of them now. Sure. And I probably am one of those people. They say, I didn't leave the Democratic Party. I didn't leave the left. The left left me. I even know somebody, this is crazy, Robert. Okay. I know a young man who considers himself, he is a card carrying communist. Okay. He lives here in Burlington, card carrying communist.
Where he belongs, I might add.
We're going to get in a fight, Robert, but card carrying communist.
Put him up.
And he is over the gender nonsense. He refuses to put his pronouns in his signature at work, and he's like, "That's stupid. Men are men, women are women." And I'm like, "Okay, but you guys are all supposed to be on the same team." I thought this was the whole point, was that you guys are like socialists, you people. I'm not supposed to say guys because that's gendering, but you're y'all
sexist. We're going to be canceled because that was sexist.
I know, I'm so sexist, Robert. It's so true.
So by the way, I have a question before you finish that. Can a woman be a misogynist?
Sure.
You sure about that? I can't figure it out.
I mean, you know what? I actually don't. Maybe I don't know what the word misogyny means.
All right, so let's go back
to be a man to be a misogynist.
According to the new definitions, I suspect you do, unless of course there are
microaggressions.
And then the question is, if a man transitions to a woman, can he still be a misogynist? But let's go back to your communist. Let's go back to your communist friend.
Oh my God! So how? I think what's so fascinating to me is that there's so many people who believe in and go along with the wokeism and the shift towards communism, but they are present of mind enough to recognize that biology does exist. Biology is real, and women should be protected. You know, these people have mothers and daughters and sisters, and so I think the good thing that we have to look forward to, Robert, is that this ideology.
Wait, there's something good to look forward.
Thank you.
I need this pep talk. Come on, cheer me up.
We're seeing them eat their own now. We're seeing
not
this
nearly
fracturing.
enough. Not nearly enough.
Well, the more we can really, I think, highlight and focus how utterly reasonable we are and how absolutely off the wall they are, the more we're going to get people over to our side.
You know what we really need? What we really need is a healthy argument. You need a healthy discussion. That's why they don't want to talk about it. Because look, wokeism is in the utopian tradition of fascism, of socialism, of communism, all of which history has repeatedly showed fails everywhere it's tried in its utopian form, because you always end up with China and a dictatorship or sort of an oligarchy, right? Like we have, because it's all about either individual freedom or state control.
That's right.
But the real issue is this is an old religion made new, and all new religions are intolerant. And that's it. They're intolerant of any deviation in thought or ideology that doesn't comport or line up with this new religion. And, you know, people used to criticize President Obama, and Lord knows there's so much to criticize about him. One of the things that I was, had to get people to try to understand is the reason he saw America the way he did is because he viewed America through the lens of a colonialist power, and therefore he saw America as a bad place. But at least if you understood how he saw things, you understood the unifying vision. It didn't make it right, and it's certainly not what I agree with. Similarly here with all this wokeist nonsense, if you understand and view it through the prism of a new religion, it all of a sudden makes sense. And all of it makes sense. Just understand you're fighting against a religion that's intolerant.
Speaking of colonialism and countries that are engaging in colonialism, Robert, let's go to break and come back and talk about China.
That is a wonderful segue. And by the way, folks, that's Ericka telling me I'm talking too much, and we need to take a break and get some water. And so you can listen to our sponsors. We'll be right back. The politicians in Washington don't care about you. While they argue and bicker and do nothing, our country is falling apart. And our cherished freedoms, they're being stripped away, one right at a time. It's time to do something about it. The American Center for Education and Knowledge is fighting back to restore America. Join us in our fight to defend American exceptionalism and defend the Constitution. Go to acekfund.org to learn more. That's acekfund.org. Do it now.